Um, but I'm delighted to chime in, and it's great to see all of you on this somewhat rainy, stormy morning. Um, Look, I just wanted to say that this is an incredibly critical time for our democracy. I think you know that. You probably didn't need to hear that from me. But that means that it's an incredibly critical time for Americans to be checked into to working on our democracy. And that's what you're doing by taking part in the Democratic Party, by taking part in the caucus this morning, by showing up every single day to fight against Donald Trump and his ridiculous, harmful agenda, and also to set the example of the way democracies should work. It's incredible what this administration has done in just the first couple of months of its reign. And I say reign because Trump really wants to be a king. Now, I was the first member of Congress, House or Senate, to talk about the rise of Trump being somewhat not entirely dissimilar from the rise of Hitler. When I said that, I received a tremendous amount of criticism. I did a John Keller interview a couple weeks ago. You may have seen it on TV. And before the interview, John said, "You know, I was one of the people who criticized you, who attacked you for using that comparison with Hitler. But you know what? I was wrong and you were right. Because what's going on right now is truly the rise of authoritarianism. Trump and his team are trying to take away power from you, from us, from those of us who believe in a thriving democracy, who want to have a vigorous debate of ideas, who can welcome those who disagree with us." Remember, this was one of my points that I was making after the election. We, as a Democratic Party, if we want to be a majority, we have to welcome those who disagree with us and have that debate, have a vigorous debate about the ideas, the positions, the policies that are going to take us forward. But we can't have that debate if people who disagree with the administration are being disappeared from the streets. I don't say deported, I say disappeared because deportation may be part of it. But fundamentally, what they're doing, if you look at that video of Ramesa being taken off the streets of Somerville by Tufts, it looks like a video from Iran or North Korea or China. They're disappearing people like a dictatorship because they disagree with them. Meanwhile, Trump is wrecking the economy. I mean, the tariffs are just such a harebrained scheme. There's a reason why we haven't tried it since the 1930s. And as I've said on social media, somewhat ironically, you know, tariffs are what made the Great Depression great. We don't need another Great Depression. And yet, if you look at what's happening in the markets today, even after Trump backed off the majority of his tariffs, such a weak guy, can't even make up his mind. The markets are still in real trouble. That means our retirements are being affected. That means people are going to have trouble getting jobs, and most of all, it means the prices are going to go up for Americans across the country. And frankly, prices are going to go up for people all across the world. So this is a time when we need to band together to stand up for our country, to stand up for our democracy, and to show a new way forward for the Democratic Party. Fundamentally, I think Democratic leaders right now need to be doing two things. One is standing up to Trump, and you'll see me doing that vigorously every single day. I'm not mincing words. I'm telling the reality. I'm speaking about what's really happening to our country. But the second thing is Democrats need to think about reforming our party. We lost an election in November that should have been the easiest to win in our lifetimes, running against a convicted felon with no policies that benefit the middle of America. And yet, if you look at polling from just a week ago, Americans still trust Republicans more than Democrats on the economy. That's a travesty. We need to take that back. For a generation now, Americans should trust Democrats on the economy, but that means we need to talk about a strong economy. We need to show the way forward. We need to tell Americans that everyone should pay their fair share, but we aspire to be successful. That's a future message of economic prosperity for the Democrats. By the way, you'll hear people like the wonky Ezra Klein talking about this on their podcast, but we need to translate it into terms that every American can understand. The second thing is national security. You know, since the Reagan years, the Republican Party has been strong on national security. It's time to change that. We see how Trump is shredding our alliances all across the globe, putting us closer to war and cozying up to dictators. I mean, it's truly unbelievable. Ronald Reagan must be rolling over in his grave. But think about it. The Republican Party was not known for being strong on national security because of Richard Nixon. It was because of Ronald Reagan. And Ronald Reagan set that tone for a generation that Republicans would be known as strong on the economy and strong on national security. We need to take that mantle of leadership away from Republicans. This is an opportunity of a lifetime. So, at the same time as this is an incredibly dangerous moment for our democracy and we need to stand up for it, this is also the time for Democrats to show that we can win. If you didn't know that this was a winner take all business, November made it clear and January has made it starkly frightening. So we need to win. Going into 2026, we need to set the winning program for 2028. And we need to put a check on Donald Trump, not just through the judiciary, not just through our protests, but through the House of Representatives, by winning back the House, by showing that we can lead on the economy, we can lead on national security, and Americans can trust Democrats once again. That's a recipe for winning. And by the way, any of you who helped me with Serve America, the organization that accounted for more than half the seats we flipped back in 2018 to take back the House. Truly outsized impact. There's no member of Congress, House or Senate, anywhere in the country who can say that his district had a bigger impact on the 2018 elections than ours. That's something to be proud of. And we have a slate coming up for 2026. We just endorsed our first candidate, an amazing Marine veteran who served the state of New Hampshire for a long time in Democratic politics. She's running for Congress to take over Chris Pappas's seat because he's running for Senate. Maura Sullivan is our first endorsee for 2026, and we're going to have a lot more. So we have work to do, but we also have a tremendous opportunity, an opportunity to set the course of the Democratic Party for the next generation, to win, win, win. That's what we need to do. So thank you so much for being a part of this on a rainy Saturday morning, and I hope to see you soon. Take care.